Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the JulesTheHuman Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the first time we're going to be talking about Chrono Crusade, brand new anime that was picked out of the chest here. It was one that I put in there, so I have some thoughts, got to say some stuff, but there are a ton of anime here that are ready to be picked. Once we finish the first little arc of this anime, we go on to the next one, and all of these have been suggested by either me or Matt or by you. And the way that you can suggest an anime to put here in the chest is a $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. And we already had our first one up. Near Automata is an A ranked anime that we finished up last week, and this is the first one for season 3. I do not go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a cold, rainy week, and it's been super refreshing because we don't get a lot of rain in Southern California. So, we needed this, as they say. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm really intrigued or curious to hear your thoughts about this show. Because
Yeah.
it might, if I'm not wrong, it might be one of the oldest anime that you've seen at this point.
Probably the
With
oldest anime.
it coming out in early 2000s.
Yeah, I looked it up. It came out 2003, 2004. When was the one that you like with LaDouche came out?
That one is like early 2000s as well. I would need to take it to the booth real quick.
Okay.
But it's also pretty old.
Yeah. So the reason I picked it, and I don't know if this is a disclaimer. 2006. So this is the oldest anime that we've watched on the show. Asterisk pending, probably, or at least the oldest looking anime based on the show. But I was looking for anime to put in the chest because I had one to do, and it was recommended to me by Crunchyroll, and I saw that it had 4.5 stars, and everyone's like, "This is a hidden gem. This is one that you gotta check out that not a lot of people talk about." And I was like, "That's kind of what we do on the show." I was like, we try to discover little gems here, and I was like, you know what? Cool. The little characters looked cool on the front. Chrono Crusade.
Yeah.
Added it in there. Kind of an over broad stroke. Once you get past how bad it looks, and I gotta say, I'm more of a stickler for art than I think Matt is, because if it doesn't look pretty, then it's like I'm not super into it. I'm sure Matt isn't to that extent, because I know you do play like older games or like pixel games where even I would be like, I'm not playing that, looks weird. But once you get past the way it looks, I'm actually kind of into it. I don't know if you were into the show. Kind of give me like a broad first reaction for Chrono Crusade.
Yeah, first reaction, I'm definitely like, oh, this is a bit, rough around the edges in terms of its visual fidelity. But like, the voice
480p.
acting was pretty good. It's got like a kind of a unique type deal going on with its whole demons, good versus evil. But it seems like there's something else that's kind of gonna be revelations that are gonna be made. So it's like, I definitely would say for me, this is a case of if I would have to play off that 4-episode rule, at the end of the 4th episode, I think I'm probably on board with where it's going. Yeah. But by the end of the first one, I was kind of like, oh, this could go either way.
At the end of the first episode?
By the end of the first episode, I was like, this could go either way. Like, it depends on which way it swings from here. But I think I buy into the setup by the end of the 4th episode if we're playing that 4-episode rule.
I think I definitely would have turned it off once I saw the fidelity like you're talking about, and looking at Crunchyroll, and it's like, oh, I can only play it in 480p. What am I supposed to do with all these pixels on my monitor then? Yeah. What am I supposed to do with all these extra pixels then? What's going on?
It felt like I was watching, it takes me back to a time where you would, have to like, use super frowned upon means by certain people to watch anime, and that's the type of stuff you would have to put up with, that type of quality or lower. And it was just like, that's what we put up with back then. Yeah. Like that's what we had to deal with. But so it is like nostalgic in a way, in a like weird way, where it's like, at a certain point, all types of media have like we've come through cycles of trying to like replicate the arts or the problems that older forms of media inherently had, like VCR grain or DVD skipping for like novelty or for an artistic effect. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's very
While I think,
where this is going to go.
yeah, while the quality is bad, the animation looks good. Like the animators did a decent job. I'm like trying to put my head back then because I didn't. I read the synopsis and I was like, okay. And I read like because it was a 4.5, and I was like, okay, let me check out some like reviews or like some people talking about it, and they're like, for the time, it was really good animation. For the time, it looked great. Like this is a hidden gem, like I said. And I was like, okay, why not? And like when you get past the how the quality is, like it's animated pretty good. It's
Mhm.
good enough for me to forget about it while I'm watching these first 4 episodes. So I was like, I'm in.
If you're really kind of like trying to look for shortcomings with the show, like you can pick it apart all day, but like people, it seems like people are saying for the time, it definitely has a unique art style that it has going for it with this kind of like pre-depression but post roaring 20s kind of like vibe that it has going on in terms of its timeline.
Yeah.
And it's just feels different enough to where I really can't compare it to anything outside of like maybe Hellsing or Vampire Hunter D, and even those lean far more into their horror elements than their adventure, mystery, or comedy elements, which this show kind of has a delicate balance of, and I feel like it pulls it off well.
So far.
At least half the time with the comedy. Sometimes the comedy can be hit or miss, but you know that's just comedy. That's showbiz,
We'll
baby.
talk about the elder when he comes up, but episode 1, Sister Rosette. What happens in episode 1 of Chrono Crusade?
So, in the late 1920s in New York City, an organization exists to battle poltergeists and devils known as the Order of Magdalene. Rosette and Chrono work together for the Order, and while on a mission to take out a dangerous threat, they accidentally cause an entire building to collapse to the dismay of Sister Kate, who has conflicting feelings on the employment of Chrono, unlike Minister Remington. Elder, a scientist for the Order, shows Rosette a new bullet he's been working on, just as Rosette and Chrono get new orders to track down a demon, and using the new bullet to destroy it, Rosette causes a cargo ship to sink in the harbor.
Right off the bat, we get a little classic anime intro, sort of the thing that everything plays off of now, where it has some characters, a really sort of memorable opening
It is
sound to
some of
the
the
song.
most early 2000s anime opening music you could get. And again, I don't say that with like, I'm not saying that as a negative. It's just, it's incredibly nostalgic that
Yeah.
this show is so, yeah, under the radar. I've never seen anybody talking about it before. And with the name Chrono Crusade, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, is this related to those like Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger games? But it's not. And in fact, they changed it. They had to change the name regionally to avoid copyright issues with that
Is
game
that why
series. That's
is that
why
why
they're
it's spelled weird? Because I
that
was like
is,
even
yes.
looking up, I was like, why is it CHRNO? And then like in all the other stuff, it was CHRNO or whatever.
Yeah, they had to change the name to avoid copyright from Bandai Namco, I think it is.
Did not know that. That's good. That's really funny. So we get instantly put into the setting 1928 AD, Brooklyn, New York. Here we are. We meet our two main characters, Rosette and Chrono. They are investigating a failed summoning, possibly. Rosette crashes the car. So instantly we have some um, identifiers here that is really easy to latch onto. And I'm like, I love it when they're like, give us a little trope, but don't make it the entire identity of the character. This girl's clumsy. This girl kind of messes up stuff.
She kind of sleepy.
She kind of sleepy. Bro, I'm cool. I'm instantly characterized in something that I can latch onto. Really love it. We learn her name's Rosette Christopher of the Magdalene Order. They are exorcists of the order. They find a body that the spirit energy rapidly drained and mummified. So instantly, like, I don't know where this is going. Me and you are both coming out of this or coming into this. This could go anywhere. Like,
Mhm.
I read the little synopsis. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't expect how intense, like, I don't know if it's blood and gore. It's not really
Yeah,
like animation
how intense some of the
violence.
visuals can be, I guess.
Yeah, and I was
Because
like,
it's like it
oh,
shows that mummified body right off the back of like a
yeah,
visual gag, which is her like trying to be sneaky, but then tripping and falling, and they show her like drawn all funny while she's
yeah,
falling. So it's like it gets you to laugh, and then it's immediately just like, ooh,
yeah, like
ugh.
yo. And instantly Rosette just blasts homie in the mouth. And I was like, yo, this is cool. This was the moment. I think that was the moment where I'm just like, oh, the mummy, whatever. And then there was like Satanist. Oh shit. Okay, monster with a fedora. And then he just
Bro was
instantly
scrambling on the walls like Spider-Man or
I
Venom
it
in
was a
Marvel
little
Rivals, just scurrying around.
it was a little like odd, and I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was gonna be this creepy. And then she just blasted him in the head. I'm like, they got guns. We got a nun
Yeah.
with guns.
Yeah, we got none with
Nun
guns.
with guns. And I'm like, cinema.
And up to this point, again, with the characterization, not through exposition, but like naturally through action and dialogue. At this point now, we've had Chrono, who already said, like, for some reason, the sister doesn't like him. So whoever's trying to contact them to give them orders, for some reason, doesn't like Chrono. And then we see him assist Rosette in killing the demon, but for some reason he hurts himself, drawing more, intrigue into what's going on with Chrono.
Yeah. That there's
Because they avoid outright saying it for a while, and they give you enough to kind of like come to your own conclusion, I feel like, before they finally just come right out and say it. But I like how it's handled up to this point for sure.
yeah, super cool. We get some fighting. I like Rosette. I'm okay with Chrono. I'm like, cool, down. We meet Minister Remington and the main sister that sort of opposes Rosette a little bit. Remington sort of babies Rosette. There's apparently a war going on. She dreams about Joshua, this person that we don't know about. She dreamt about him, and then we meet the Elder. So this was when it was like, this is of the times, man.
This is he is the most of this making this show feel like a time capsule, and a product of its time.
Yeah, and I don't know why we were okay with that because it
I
was
don't.
super uncomfy.
It was pretty uncomfy. I mean, yeah. Again, this kind of plays into a similar conversation that we had with the show. What was it called? The first one we did last season. I'm forgetting its name. I'm losing it totally. It was the F rank one that we gave last season.
Yeah,
But it just
Bakemonogatari.
there's just I don't know, cultural differences and norms change throughout the years and such. And
I mean, yeah,
if the pervert old man gag is just a product of the early 2000s and nothing more, then here it is.
yeah. So
Because even in shows as popular as Naruto,
that's
that
what I was
got
gonna
his mainstream
say.
attention, we've had that trope in there too. And it's just, if that's just the product of its time, then sure, it is
I
what it
mean,
is.
there is some weird cringy things, and even like Dragon Ball or something.
Yeah,
Like it's
totally.
like, that's not cool, or that's weird.
It's just the good stuff outweighs the bad stuff, and I feel like this show that like it doesn't become anytime he's on the screen, and I'm glad that the show doesn't run with it in that direction. But it's like,
Yeah,
why do we even have to have this moment then if that's not going to be his thing?
I
quote
was
unquote?
afraid that it was gonna be his thing, and then
Yeah,
every time he popped up, it was gonna be another thing, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh,
It's
it
pretty.
happened in."
It's pretty overt too. It's like it's not
Yeah,
just like
like,
I
give me
don't
a
even know.
squeeze or something. And he's like,
It's
give me
literally let me
here.
fondle you,
He
and I'll
literally,
do a
yeah.
favor for
He
you.
says, "Let me fondle you," and I'm like, "Rosette's like 15 or something, bro. Like, what do you?" And he was like looking under her skirt at the beginning when he popped up, and I was like, jump scare. Um, Jeez, what are you doing down there, bro? She's like 15. He gives a special bullet to Rosette. They end up investigating a ship that is occupied by Wrath. I think Chrono was the one that coined that it was occupied by Wrath. Um, and I like whenever they're fighting with the whole ship stuff, like they're fighting this other monster. I like that the bullets, just something like artistic and it's kind of silly. I like when the bullets hit something that come out as like little crosses. I'm like, hell yeah, bro. We got a nun with a gun, blah, 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 blah. It's like, pshoo, 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 like little crosses. I'm like, this is so good. I don't know why.
No,
It,
yeah,
it
it's just
hits.
it gives it more, what is otherwise just, one character firing a gun. It gives it more impact and it gives it more flair. And it's like, it's the difference in something like Dungeons and Dragons between saying like, just I attack the thing versus like describing how you're doing the action and
Yep.
describing how the outcome of the event might look. It's just giving it that little extra something that's making the world feel like, again, it's building itself out instead of just being this, because instead of just being a hollow shell of a place for the story to like exist.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. Um, the ship becomes undocked, and Kronos steals the gospel bullet and sends it to Rosette, captures the monster in its true form, and she ends up crashing into the Statue of Liberty. Because again, we established
Liberty.
this happens all the time. They established it before, but I think I liked it a little bit more than you did. On the first episode, I was like, it gives me what I think it's gonna be. This little bit of funny, a lot more action and a lot more like gruesome stuff than I expected, I suppose, from looking at the two characters on the main page. Um, and these are likable enough characters, and it has a pretty. It kind of hooked me because of like that religious aspect and devils versus God, or however they're going to take it. I was like, okay, I haven't had this in a while on my plate for an anime. No, I hope they dive into something and I can
Mm-hmm.
latch my teeth into it. But I was like, I'm cool with these characters. I'm
Yeah,
cool with whatever they're selling. So
that's kind of like that's similar to how I felt, but I felt like, all right, now from here, now that we have it established, like, where do we go from here? And
oh,
that's what
okay.
I was worried about. I was like, I have no idea where we're going, and that's like my only fear is that like let's take this somewhere good and interesting, and not just like, are we just about to get missions on repeat and are we're just killing random demons? But that's not where the show ends up going, thankfully. It always feels like, the why, the where, who, when. There's always a question, kind of like that's being um, progressively answered in all of the dialogue and all of the scenes. It feels like it's always setting up and giving us new, um, not really exposition dumps, but exposition at appropriate times that help draw more intrigue into what hopefully is going to be payoffs later into the show.
Okay, I
Because we got
definitely
our
understand
first
that
four right
because
now. So it's like, what are our setups? What do I want out of this show?
yeah, because I was not thinking about that. I was thinking about the now in this moment. And yeah, I totally agree that if I thought of it more during episode one, I can agree that there's not a whole lot to like push me forward in a story, but like I thought the concepts were cool mainly and the characters were likable enough. But on the long arc, I think episode two does pick that up a little bit more. This was so more of an establishing episode than
Correct.
most anime episode ones. Episode two, Contractor. What happens in Chrono Crusade episode two?
We see Rosette and her brother Joshua meet Chrono in what seems like some sort of crypt. Joshua is awed by the fact he's meeting a real demon, but appears to wander off in a trance before it is revealed that this is a nightmare Rosette is having. She continues to be a nuisance to Sister Kate, and the Elder reveals another new experimental bullet and puts it in the hands of Rosette mistakenly, as she ends up getting disarmed while it's loaded, and a demon steals it from under her nose. Minister Remington agrees to keep this a secret from Sister Kate after catching her in a lie to cover up, and the demon arrives at the Order's HQ and infuses itself with a bullet under the instruction of Ion. Chrono crashes out after Rosette takes a tail swipe, but she gets up and destroys the demon after calming Chrono. We are shown Joshua in the current day as he dismantles a group of nasty-looking demons.
Now,
And
episode
gets
2.
blood lapped up off his hand by his assistant, maid, whatever.
Wild. Now in episode 2, now we have so much more. Like, if it felt like all the exposition that could have been in episode 1 just was pounded in episode 2, and it worked for me.
It worked for me too.
We get the whole flashback to when Chrono was found. We get the confirmation that he is a devil, that Rosette was nice to him, and that her younger brother Joshua there with the whole dream sequence. We get another special bullet. I'm cool with the Elder. Just I don't need to know how this works, but the Elder just coming up with bullets. I'm like, that's cool. I'm down for that.
It reminds me of, something like in James Bond, how every time the guy that the agency like has new gadgets and stuff, for him ready. So it just feels like that. And in, the 1920s, the late 1920s, what's better than a new bullet?
It was cool. I mean, okay, this one's pretty good because it's spirit bullet. There's a devil inside the bullet. It'll turn into a spiritual energy and just go kaboom.
And go boom.
Where are we getting these devils and how? Whatever. Cool. I'm down.
I accept it.
So I really do like the Elder's role here, where he's just like, here's a new thing. Cool. Let's try it out in this gun that we have. Sure.
And she was supposed to take it to somebody else, but like she gets called on a new mission and she's just like, I think I'm gonna take this.
They never bring it up again. Nobody has a problem with that.
No consequences. Has a problem with,
she just. It said it took him all night to make this one bullet. I don't know if he's made another one. It sounded like this was his first one that he made, his prototype. She's just
my life's work.
Yeah, literally. She's like, oop, gonna go try it out. Might be. This big old bat unicorn thing shows up. They shot the horn off. She was about to use spirit, but Chrono feels something again. And someone in the crowd with red eyes may have took the gun. We find out they do. Rosette lies to Sister Kate, but Remington does find out, and he's like, I want to help you find the gun. There is this raven with red eyes that leads the gun napper to the church grounds, and they mention that this guy has a thick aura, and I was like, hell yeah, brother.
Damn, his aura thick.
they could see it from the top of the church.
That's so funny.
It's really cool how they, well, I don't know if it's cool. It's blasphemous, but they have a bunch of nuns. They have class 3 exorcists. They have classes of exorcists they mentioned here. And this thing just changes and they're like, go, 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 plop, 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 plop. And I'm like, this is cool. I'm cool with this. Give a nun a gun. And I am
like,
satisfied.
What are their bullets or something called? She's like, use of it is now permitted, and they just open fire. But that thing just eats all those bullets, man. It does not care.
That person that stole the gun becomes the devil with the horn, grows and absorbing the power of the spirit in the bullet. He ended up. This is where he ends up shooting, like just.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I remember that correctly. All right.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
It's like it's just this. Again, like you were saying, the show definitely like has these kind of like, oh, what the moments,
Mm-hmm.
like where it's kind of jarring with like how, even though there's not a high visual fidelity, I do find the character designs to be very like appealing.
Mm-hmm.
They're very cutesy styled anime. Just a type of art design that we've come to know as almost like a default. So we're hitting those notes, and then it's just, yeah, we have heads getting blown off, we got mummified bodies, and it reminds me of like kind of like the type of animation we used to get out of the 90s and more Western animations. I'm kind of like losing direct examples, but like the animated Spawn movie, where like you would just have like these depictions of like actual death and decay, but it's in the same style as like Disney movies and stuff,
Yeah.
to so to speak, because that was like, the popular Western animation style that came out of the 50s. Um so it's a lot. It's a lot going on here. And I find it able to balance its tone very well, where those WTF moments like come off of some more comedic bits as well.
Yeah. It is
And
very funny.
it's pretty funny. And I'm watching it in uh Japanese. You said that you were watching it in English.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find the timing of the comedy to hit very well, for sure.
Yeah, and now we're on the subject. I kept switching between Japanese and English to see what the difference is. The and I want to know your take, because I guess we haven't really talked. We've talked around it a little bit, but how do you feel about the English voice actors taking a little bit of liberty with what is said, um, to make it a little bit more colloquial? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, because I was switching back and forth just to see if I was missing something, because it was really good in English, and I'm like, I'm cool with just watching it in English, but I wanted to know what the difference was. And some of the subtitles in the Japanese version was not matching what the English voice actors were saying in the English dub.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm okay with that, because they're
Yeah.
saying some stuff that was a little more like Western. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, it's cool to see the differences. So how do you feel
I
or
think that's totally
about that?
acceptable. I
Yeah.
think it's something that just when you're saying something out loud as a voice actor, when something's been translated from a different source and now you're the one voice acting it, it might just not roll off the tongue as well. It might be something in that moment that creates a different dynamic in the studio, that has the people that are handling the different translation to want to take it in a different direction. There's a lot of things that play into it, and I think that we should definitely allow the people that are handling the translation and delivery of it to be the ones that make those decisions.
Mhm.
Um, so I definitely think it's acceptable. I definitely also think that it leaves room to the chance that you could have bad translations at that point, and things
Sure.
like, it can go in bad directions, but giving benefit of the doubt that those people would take the time and care to make sure that it doesn't, to the best of their ability.
Mhm. Rosette's gun jams. She gets hit. Chrono goes Super Saiyan. And something that Remington said, I think he said, Chrono is the most powerful devil that we've ever faced. So here we get a little drip feed of what the hell is Chrono and why is he here? What's going on? Rosette
Did
stops him
everybody
from
else hear that?
yeah.
Did everybody else hear that?
Rosette stops Chrono
And
from
we're just
charging.
keeping them around.
Yeah, we're just hanging. He's hanging out with this little
It's
girl.
literally like Chrono, Hydrogen Bomb, the organization, Coughing Baby.
Yeah.
apparently.
Rosette shoots the horn plant. The crow that was leading him in disappears, and Remington says, "It's beginning." What the hell? What's happening? Then we get Lord Joshua and Fiore. Monsters seek Ion the Sinner to seek them, to slay them. Lord Joshua ends up killing all the monsters. Joshua has red eyes, he has big ears, and then Fiora licks his cut, which is really weird. So we get Joshua. No information, but this is still continuing good. It's good enough for me to keep going.
Yeah.
Looks
Which
not
again, we
great,
started
but
the episode with Joshua possibly seeing the nightmare of Joshua possibly being influenced by Ion, and then now we have all these demons coming to Joshua looking for Aeon after what Fiore says that Aeon just called, and that she said he'd get back to him later. Like, you just put a
what?
demon lord on hold, bro. Like,
Can you tell him I'm not here?
but like that setup alone was, by the end of the second episode, enough for me to be like, I want to know what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened to Joshua with Aeon, and because we know that because of Chrono in that flashback, how is Chrono connected to Aeon? Like, there's a lot of questions involving the three of them now, or the four of them if you want to count Aeon, Rosette, Chrono, and Joshua. Like,
And the
those
other
four have me, like, now that the questions of what's going on between all of them is driving me crazy.
Yeah, and what's going on in the present with Remington seemingly saying it's beginning, something's happening. This has been, well, we learned in episode 3 there's a prophecy about all this, but or possibly, I don't know. LOL, meow meow. How's it going?
Meow, meow.
Thank you for coming by. So yeah, it's intriguing. I did not expect this much intrigue in this anime. But I'm down. I mean,
Didn't know what
like
to
you said,
expect.
like you said earlier, you were kind of apprehensive to see if they were just going to be killing monsters and just two kids just hunting demons and exercising them or whatever every week. I would have been okay with. That's what I was expecting. That's what I was like. I'm cool with that. Just them doing a monster of the week. I'm down. Elle said, "Hope you're both doing well." Yes, we're doing
Know
well.
you.
We're talking about new anime, Chrono Crusade. But even though it's not what I expected, it's way deeper. And I'm like, let's go. Let's figure out what's going on in this world. Episode 3, The Servants. What happens in episode 3?
Rosette and Chrono are tasked with guarding Asmaria Hendrick, an apostle blessed by God. She is currently in the custody of a known devil summoner and hotel mogul, Ricardo Hendrick, and his right-hand man, someone Chrono recognizes, Lerage. That one's tough. Rosette runs into Asmaria and attempts to get her to safety, but is caught by Lerage, and Asmaria turns herself in before Rosette can react. Chrono crashes through the window, creating a diversion, giving way to an escape, with Lerage recognizing Chrono. Asmaria is devastated by the chaos and pain caused by her escape, which activates her apostle powers of healing others with her voice. Exposition on apostles and Joshua being one is given by Minister Remington before Rosette runs off with Asmaria in an attempt to free her from holding back her emotions. Just as Lerage crashes the party, Asmaria turning herself in again.
Now we get all this stuff. I see it now. I see the prophecy. We get so many more characters in this one, and I'm like instantly in this story. But first, the prophecy.
Yeah, like, I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I definitely at this point saw the first episode as like our kind of introduction and getting to know Rosette, and then our second episode was kind of getting to know more about Chrono, and with them being like our kind of like main duo, now it's all right. Now we're jumping into the first like arc of the story in my eyes. That's what I was kind of like anticipating. And with this episode leaving off on a cliffhanger where the other two did not, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, all right, now we're in the meat of things, and now I'm ready to really see what the show has to offer.
Give me the
And
meat.
yeah, give me the meat. We had potatoes, we had veggies. Now where's the steak? Put the steak on my plate.
I feel like it kind of tested you a little, like tested the viewer a little bit, where they're like, okay, we're gonna talk about some stuff, and then it's like, okay, episode 2, like, oh, that's interesting, like, cool, we got some crazy stuff. And then episode 3, they're like, where it's happening now, all the things that we said or we were leading to, here we are. Because right off the bat, prophecy of Fatima, which is the 3 prophecies together. 1, the great war will end. Cool. Second prophecy, in 20 years, a greater war will occur. Cool. The third is a mystery that's held by the Pope. Just in that, like, lore drop, I'm like, okay, crazy, but we know it concerns the devils, apparently. Just in that opening for number 3, it's like flying at 60 miles per hour. Like,
Yeah.
yes, let's go.
And it definitely gives it like a storybookish feel with the whole telling of the 3 prophecies, the prophecy of Fatima.
And then we meet Asmario Hendrik, who is an apostle that is 12 from Fatima, who is in I guess the possession of Ricardo Hendrik, who is the hotel king and is into devil worship. And they're watching her sing. There's a man that's beside him who is Larage. Every time it showed up in, like, because I also had closed captions. I was watching in English, but also had closed captions. Every time his name came up, it was something different. So I was like, I gotta switch to Japanese to see what his, like, name, how it's spelled or whatever.
That's funny.
Because it was like Lorage and like all this other stuff.
Leroy.
Yeah, it was Leroy. And I was like, how do I spell this guy's name? Whatever.
That's so funny.
We find out that Hendrik has made a contract with the devil. Larage is the devil's name. They're using her voice and want to use her voice for something we don't know really yet. Ricardo Hendrik, although, is coughing up blood, and he has little time that is known.
Time is short.
And then we get like this little moment here where it's like hotel vibes with slot machines. They're in the city of sin. We get Rosette being addicted to slots, and we get this little moment between her and Chrono, and it was just enough. Like, she says some weird stuff, like she's shaking his butt, shaking her butt.
She's like, "Hey, doesn't this distract you? Don't I look good in this dress? Don't I look good in this dress, bro?"
Yeah. Give me money for slots. Give me money for slots. And it was just enough to make me laugh. And I was like, I'm okay. I was okay with it. Yeah, they're doing some silly stuff, and I dig that she has an addiction.
But then after that, we have them running off because she breaks the handle, and it puts us in the next plot beat. And when she's in the closet with Asmaria, and she stands up, they put
Bro, it's in my notes here.
I was like, who activated the jiggle physics? What's going on?
Nothing else in the scene was moving, but it was like, just like, what? Okay. Some of you may not have seen the show. So
oh my god,
Asmaria and Rosette are talking, and I'm glad you noticed it too, because I didn't want to be the weird guy that noticed it.
I think everybody that watches it will notice that for sure.
They just turned the jiggle physics on for like one scene. Like, I didn't notice at all before. She's covered up mostly. This is time when Rosette nuns is the time Rosette is in something that's not a nun outfit, and she moves. And while, like, she's talking, and she moves from like one frame to the next, and she stands up, and her mouth's moving. The only thing moving in the scene, her mouth, but then also the movement of her chest. And it's just like, it was
It was
obnoxious.
distracting.
It was distracting for me and Matt to see it when we're trying to get she's trying to give us exposition talking to Asmaria, and it's just like, oh god, like what the, it was just a weird couple of
Weird moment.
frames there.
Yeah.
I put boob jiggle kind of odd. They bump into Larage after that. Larage recognizes Chrono. We got a big old heist because now they got to run with her as Maria. There's a gargoyle mixed with mystical powers, or as Maria is having sort of a breakdown when everything goes wrong. She's like, it's really quick how they characterize her. And it's really good. This child that doesn't want to hurt anybody is an apostle that has some power we don't know about. And she's just instantly like breaking down here, where it's like, I hate this. I hate that people get hurt. And it's my fault.
It's like, number one way to make a child character likable, make their life suck. And her life sucks, bro.
Okay.
I'm like,
write
just
that
her
down.
life
Write that
sucks.
down.
I'm just saying, like, she's like, the fact that she's able to endure the things that, you know, the show has kind of like implied that she is putting up with having a guardian that is a literal devil summoner. You know, she's in a very unlucky and uncomfortable situation where she's probably just being used as a lamb, being brought up as a lamb due for slaughter for somebody else's expense. So like, you know, her life kind of sucks, and she's able to, you know, not just in that moment where Ledage is like, you know, confronting them because they got caught. She's the one that kind of just stands up, speaks first, and takes responsibility for the current situation in order to try to save somebody else. And she's doing that at a young age. It's like, this kid's life sucks, and she's so charitable, which the minister ends up saying that she's probably the apostle of charity. So it's just it immediately can endure the audience to her through that.
Yup. And then she starts singing, and I switched as well from Japanese to English to see if it was the same song. It was the same song, so they did
nice.
it in English in both. But she starts singing, makes everybody's injuries heal, and there's the proof that she is an apostle. She has power from God, and apparently, yeah, she ults there. She uses her ult. Well used ult there. Joshua is an apostle as well. Joshua, her brother, Rosette's brother, has healing abilities. And Remington does go into this more information, and it's a little odd that he knows all this stuff, but he's like a higher person. So I'm keeping my eye on Remington just because he's too nice.
Yeah,
he's a little too nice here.
He gives me the same vibe as the teacher in Erased. Like you're almost too conveniently nice and father figurely, and seem to just always kind of be in the know. But you know, maybe I'm looking into it too much.
He could just be a nice guy. I don't know. So basically, what apostle is, they are a person that is entrusted power by God. They must everybody in the, what is it called? The whatchamacallit
organization,
the Magdalene Order, has to protect them, mainly because there are only, there are 7 apostles for 7 virtues, and if the apostles get taken over by the devils, their devil power will grow. So they have an immense burden because there are only 7 apostles, and anybody with this power can grow their own power. Joshua might have hope, and like you said, as Maria may be charity. They are targeted by devils, and as Maria overhears that the orchestra that she was present previously in possibly was killed, so then she leaves. Rosette took Asmaria to try and cheer her up. Remington knows where they're going, and Viscount Larage shows up to take Asmaria. So we go into episode 4 with a cliffhanger. What happens in episode 4, Sinner?
Ricardo binds Lerage for acting against orders as they prepare Asmaria to revive Ricardo's body. Rosette pleads to Chrono to use his power in order to save Asmaria, just as strange lights begin to appear in response to the ritual beginning. Chrono appears to use his power, but agrees to use his power, but only for 10 minutes. And Lerage reveals that he is siphoning all of the energy for himself, leaving Ricardo to wither into ash. Chrono and Rosette arrive to save Asmaria, Rosette revealing she won't live to 30 as a contractor. She trades her soul for Chrono to have power. Rosette breaks Lerage's siphon, allowing Chrono to deal a final blow, finishing the fight, and Asmaria is invited to join the order in the choir as her powers have diminished and need time to return.
Oh man, we are in it now, Mr. Krabs.
Are you feeling it now?
We start off with Ricardo Hendrick being hooked up in a blimp. Ricardo has powers in his ring and chains up Lerage. Ricardo, we finally know, wants Asmaria to heal him because his body got died, I guess. Is that what they kind of alluded to? He died,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Lerage brought him back to life, but his body
because of
was
his
rotting.
contract of immortality with Lerage, even though he died, his body returns like in form, but not fully healed.
Bro looks dead AF, dude.
So yeah, he's literally sitting there on the throne as his body is like, exploding. But it's just funny because when he fades away and dies, doesn't he just come back again because of his contract? But then
I think
but
it
then
might
Lerage
be.
gets killed anyways, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a wild thing to ask for immortality and then be like, okay, you can
Yeah.
live forever, but your body won't. Like,
That's
oh
yeah,
shit,
exactly.
that's some genie in a bottle shit. Like
that's genie in a bottle. That's
didn't
monkey's
specify.
paw. That's any of those. You be careful what you wish for moments.
Yep. So you got to make it a long one. Just be like, I want to live forever. My body never
A long and
deteriorate.
fruitful life.
Yeah, I never get hungry or anything like that. I don't have to pee and poop. That's what I would ask for.
I can eat as much as I want, but I never get hungry. That's
good.
Because food's good. I want to eat. I just don't like being hungry.
Then where does it go?
It's just gonna poof. That's another be careful what you wish for thing. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's just gonna sit there and I'll slowly expand, and then I'll blow up.
Be careful what you wish for. The screams. This was kind of crazy. Not only is he like throwing up his insides in that scene, but then also the screams of Asmaria are what's powering Ricardo's body.
She came to the studio that day, man.
Yes, dude.
She came ready. That was like, crazy. I felt bad.
Yeah. I was like, what's happening? And I was like, oh shit. Oh my God.
The way they have her hooked up, like I was like, I know some things about to happen, but it's like, damn. Again, want to make a child character likable. Make their life suck.
Make their life sucks, because I am all for her as Maria. Chrono digivolves into transforms into a devil. They did a long transformation sequence, and I was like, fuck it, let's go. It was like extended, literally like how a Digimon would digivolve. Like it just like blah, blah, lights and everything. Yeah. And I was like, yes, let's go. Why not?
And then the moment where like he's talking and it's a close-up of his face and like he sheds the molts or whatever of his current skin. I was just like, ugh. Again, it's just like those small moments that almost draw into like body horror elements.
It is a little body horror-esque. I was promised nudity at the top. It said
I noticed that too. Plus. I was like, oh shit, we're doing this.
It said, that's why I was kind of scared too. I was like, oh shit, what did I do? It said 16 plus, nudity, violence, blood, maybe. We're getting a lot of violence. This is why it's like, what do we do? What's going on? It's so much. It's a lot. It's really cool though.
It's never like overkill though. It always feels like, I don't want to say tasteful, but it never feels like they're doing anything that just feels like it's like in bad, like not bad faith, but like mean spirit. Never feels like mean spirited.
Sure.
You know, it's always just kind of like it's there. It's enough for you to like react to, but it doesn't like linger on those portrayed elements outside of Asmaria getting zapped. That felt a little mean spirited, but again, they're literal devils and they get what they deserve. So
they lose it in the end.
yes.
We found out what lower class devils in human form are called. They're called the Legion. There's a big battle between Chrono and Larage. We get information from Larage that Chrono had a high rank that put fear into the hearts of devils everywhere. He is the one that they cast down. So some interesting backstory. Chrono was some huge devil at some point, and I'm cool to figure out how he got here.
Yeah. More
what's
intrigue,
going
more
on.
setup.
Also, what builds the intrigue is that Rosette says to Asmaria, probably not going to live till 30.
Yeah.
What did we? It's so like, oh,
like is the being a what was the word for it? Contractor. Like, is she trading 10 minutes for 10 minutes, or is it like a 10 minutes for 1 day type thing? Like, how, like what's our min max on trading our soul for demon uptime?
Yeah, because they don't make it clear, because she has stopped him in the past from using it.
Yeah.
But
and is it like, does some devil come collect them, you know, after their time is up as a contractor, or does their life essence literally just get depleted? Like, which
I'm thinking that second one.
Probably, but you know, it's questions to ponder, where like it just makes me like hope that like immediately I'm like, how are we going to find a loophole? Like, that's what I immediately start thinking. Like, how are we going to get Rosette to break that? Because we don't want that to happen as the audience. We like Rosette.
All of the apostles are going to stand around her and do a thing, and we're going to cry.
No, wait, actually.
But like, how does she even get into this contract? Like, why did he do a contract with her anyways?
If I were to take a guess, going off of her nightmare, Aeon somehow took Joshua after he was unable to keep control of Chrono or something like that. And Rosette, being the first human to show him kindness, he told her about a way that he could help her to get Josh back from Aeon, which is, I can give you a contract and then I can help you. I can lend you my power at the expense of your own life. He probably was upfront with her, and she probably still accepted because of Joshua.
Yeah,
that's
because
what my guess is.
Yeah, I definitely am behind that. That makes sense, because later on, Kronos does say that he has a mission, and you won't take me out until I finish that mission, probably to find her brother Joshua. She goes kind of on this, not a rant, but she kind of just sums up her thoughts on this. Every time that Chrono is a devil, she loses some of her life, that people passively accept their future. They annoy Rosette that you don't know your future, and then I can do something now, so I'm going to do something now. And I was like, I'm behind you. Let's do it. Larage,
conviction in a nutshell, right?
Main character energy, and I'm down for this little girl that will die soon, probably. Larage is blasting
Buddy, that
Chrono.
progress bar at 50% or higher already. Let me
Rosette blasts him. Chrono states, has a really good line. He says, you underestimate the power of humans, which goes towards your idea of what happened, because it feels like he trusted humans, and Rosette is the reason why he trusts humans, and we underestimate, or the devils underestimate humans in general. Rosette and Asmaria go crashing down, and Asmaria grows her wings again, uses her powers. Remington, there was this weird scene right after that where Remington looks on, and there was a flash of an eye, and then something flying in the sky.
I totally forgot.
So that. Yeah. That's why also I have my eye. Transition. It was a transition.
Yeah.
It was really quick, like super quick.
Yeah,
It just
blink and
went,
you missed it. Yep.
and I was like, Remington, get out of that house.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah,
Is
a
that
little bit.
foreshadowing that we see here?
As Maria ends up losing all of her powers, it could be at least half a year to get them back. And as Maria joins the choir back at Magdalena, what's it called?
Order of Magdalena.
Magdalene's Order.
Magdalene's Order.
I am liking it. And
Yeah.
I am like, even though it doesn't look good, I got used to it. I know as soon as I watch a brand new anime that came out like in 2025 and be like, whoa, that anime looks ugly. That Chrono Crusade looks so bad because
Yeah,
right
but
now
like like it's in a way it's kind of similar to, I know that you've been reading a lot of comic books more
yep,
recently. I'm not sure how far back you've gone with your comics,
been going back.
but it's the same thing. Like, even though they're older and as time moves forward, artists are able to learn from the mistakes of everybody that preceded them and make it technically, objectively better, higher fidelity. Like that, there's a certain charm that comes with
Yeah,
seeing the work that people made when that is what techniques people were using at that time.
it's
It gives you
so
an
crazy.
appreciation.
Because yeah, I'm definitely I'm reading a lot of comics. If I don't know how to explain it or how to show all of the comics I'm reading a lot of comics, and there is a huge difference to something that was made 5 years ago, even 10 years ago. And it, like, the 10 years ago stuff looks like how I pictured how comics looked. And if I read and look at some of the stuff that is coming out currently, I'm like, this is art. Every page is gorgeous and color and all this stuff. And I'm reading like stories, and I appreciate the stories because people have said they were good. And I was like, I'm going to try this out. Sinestro War. Let's check out what that's about. So definitely, I am taking this, and I did get used to Chrono Crusade. By the end, I'm like, this seems normal to me. I'm cool because I'm sucked in with the characters and story. So I definitely
Exactly.
would say, if you're like me, who like aesthetic in what you're watching, give it a try. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you come out to, because it's a little funny, it's a little violent, a little grotesque at points, but I really do think there's a gem there. Now, don't let us down. We are only 4 episodes in.
Yeah. I
Don't
mean, that
show.
those are the same impressions that I'm having, where it definitely for me comes down to a point of like, yeah, feeling nostalgic. It feels like something that I could have come across late night on, Cartoon
Ooh,
Network on Toonami,
yeah,
like one
yeah.
night, just back when you had things that just were a little bit, when the genre itself was just a little bit more niche. That's
Mhm.
what it's really
Back when,
cool to see things from that era, because it was before almost every other production or every production at this point gets greenlit, because there is so much in the market for anime nowadays. But back then, we had a much more slim pool of pickings, and it's definitely crazy that this would go under the radar when so far it's been something that's been really, really compelling in a lot of ways.
yeah. I was trying to figure out a joke. I was gonna say, man, I can't wait till that new anime comes out. I got reincarnated into another world as a Chrono Crusader, and now I'm a devil fighting for the apostles. Ooh, if it came
There it
out in
is.
2025,
Could
that
have
would be
come out in 2025. Just
that would
give
be the
us the
title.
bigger aspect ratio, just jump it up from 420
Hmm.
p,
Yeah,
and we got something.
literally 2 pixels. But we're gonna continue. So watch episode 5 through 8 of Chrono Crusade by next week. Give it a try if you haven't. I definitely think you should. Matt, I'm sure, definitely thinks you should. At least try it out. And if you fall off, at least you tried it. Matt, when you are not crusading these chronos, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my socials at it's Matt_Galley, where sometimes I just be posting. You could follow me on YouTube at Matt_Galley, where we also host this podcast live. Jules, when we're not here, where can the people find you?
Elle said more jiggle physics. Yes, there is definitely. If you're a fan of jiggle physics, boy, do I got a scene for you. You can find me at JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. Follow me on Instagram. We are doing like a Valentine's getaway. Might show some pictures where we're going. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I post comic stuff on Threads. You can find me on the YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel is where you can put a $5 super chat if you want to suggest an anime for us. Shout out to those that watch the show afterwards on my channel and the ones that give a super chat at 6 in the morning. I see you. We put it on there, so appreciate it. Yeah, find this podcast on Spotify, on its own YouTube channel. All the links to everything is in the description of this video. And we'll be back next week for Chrono Crusade 5 through 8. Oh yeah, we got a thingy. Oh man. Okay. Who is this guy? Where did this guy come from? Let me delete.
Thanks for your message.
Yeah, I was like, that distracted me. Let me ban real quick. Who are you people?
Where did I leave that hammer?
Where did it go? Episode 5 through 8 next week. Chrono Crusade. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.